A lot of people have been saying it's time for Jordan Spieth to come back and be the Jordan Spieth we know. I mean, everybody loves him for a variety of reasons, not least because he is so honest and forthright with the media. And I thought, to that point, the juxtaposition between his answer yesterday and Scottie Scheffler's about the impending demise of LIV was pretty interesting. We'll start with Jordan Spieth.
I think there's a system for Brooks and a system for Patrick Reed. Does that stay the same for guys in the same category as those two coming back, or does it change now? Does it change for guys who sued and dropped their membership? You know, there's just a lot of different things that happened over the last 4 years for that. So it's just I'm kind of glad I'm not in that room, and I trust the guys that are in that room to make the right decision.
The news coming fast and furious this week about LIV golfers and LIV in general, and this we've seen Brooks, we've seen Patrick Reed's on his way back. What are your feelings on these pathways back? Some believe just let them in. Some believe there needs to be some kind of penalty. Where do you stand?
I just got off the golf course. I don't know what you want from me.
Look, a lot of people are criticizing Scottie Scheffler on social media, and maybe it's because he said something to the effect of that was a terrible question at the Masters when asked about how he played that particular day, and I understand that situation, but I would argue that this one's completely different. While I enjoyed Jordan Spieth's answer, I certainly understand Scottie Scheffler's answer. Our producer Matt Haggerty was talking earlier today. He was saying, look, when he first started in the business, and I'd be interested to get your take on this, as a journalist, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, any question was on the table. But once Thursday began, it should be more about bogeys and birdies. Now, I'm not at all criticizing the question here, because I would argue LIV is one of the biggest stories, if not the biggest story in the history of golf, and its impending demise is another huge story. So the question needed to be asked, but I understand him not answering it, because in essence, what I took from that was him saying, can I just think about golf? I only want to think about golf at this moment. LIV, there's plenty of people chiming in on that, and it's very easy to misstep, say the wrong thing, and all of a sudden it becomes headlines, and you have to answer to it later on. Tiger was very strategic in his answers. Sure. You're a big sports nut. Derek Jeter always answered to the media, right? Yeah. You were telling me this earlier. Yeah. Always answered to the media, but never really said much. Yes. Right? Didn't have to rebound. What's your take on the question?
My take is that Scottie, who's been very accessible and accommodating as the world #1, is wearying of the questions that are coming his way, especially over the last several months in particular. I think that he is, tired of people poking at his game and saying, what did you find on the range? And what did he say to the reporter? That says that I was lost. I didn't find anything on the range. Mark Cannizzaro, longtime New York Post golf writer, asked him at the Players' Championship, he said, week to week. And Scottie says, you judge me week to week. I judge myself shot for shot. I've been in an elevator with Mark McGwire, a legendary baseball player, he told me, one-on-one, I'm tired of these questions. I get the same questions after every single baseball game, 162 on a baseball calendar. But the job of the reporter, Brandel, whether it's Monday or Sunday, is to ask questions. There may have been 15 different reporters around Scottie Scheffler yesterday. Maybe 10 of them wanted to ask him about his round. Maybe 2 of them wanted to ask him about Cameron Young. Maybe 2 more wanted to ask about Jordan Spieth. And maybe a handful wanted to ask about LIV Golf, which is the story of the question. I am not about censoring when the questions are to be asked. The job of the reporter, whether you're at the Wyndham Championship or the White House, is to tell the truth and to spare that truth to the American people, or in this case, the golf fan and sports fan at home.
I get it. The curt responses, notwithstanding his response yesterday, maybe you could categorize it as curt. I might categorize it as strategic.
Okay.
In the autobiography, Andre Agassi, Open. Have you read it?
Great book.
Yeah.
Read it twice.
I know your kids love it.
Great book.
There's a line in there. It's one of my favorite lines that I've ever read as it relates to stardom. He said, there's a tax on superstardom. Yeah. It's 15 seconds for every fan. And I would say, similarly, there is a tax on superstardom that you have to answer the questions every single day. It comes with the territory. You don't get to take the money and run. There's something called media rights. Now, Scottie Scheffler is going to play 20 times a year. He's going to be asked five consecutive days every time he plays. That's 125 times he's got to face the media. I understand getting a little chippy now and then, depending upon how you play. but the curtness previous to this remark was a little bit chippy. Did Tiger Woods ever get that way in all of the years? I mean, yes, here and there, but he always answered the question. Did he not?
He did. He did. Time and time again, even after rounds of 78. Remember the chipping issues that he had in Phoenix when he missed the cut. He stood there on that Friday afternoon and answered every single question, Brandel.
Yeah, and you can't imagine an athlete in greater throes of despair than that. The back issues, post-scandal, coming back, chipping yips, looks nothing like the god that he was in golfing. And yet, he answered the questions without getting chippy. It's the tax on superstars.
It is. And athletes have to protect their confidence and protect their energy any way they see fit. And again, I start with what I said at the beginning. Scottie, throughout his career, has been very accessible and accommodating for the most part.
He has, absolutely. But most recently, and I think that's why people were so critical on this one, was that he was getting a little bit chippy. This one, I'm quicker to understand.